Hey guys, this is Joseph. If you thought the snow day meant you got a free pass, think again. I'm going to try to go quick. I get 10 minutes per video. These should be online. For those of you who don't know, my name is Joseph Monte. I am a graduate student in mining and mineral engineering. I am working on a CCS, carbon capture and storage program. My main focus is microstructural evolution in coals, which doesn't mean anything to you, but I look at little cracks in coal as they progress. The exercise that John wanted you to do with the Perry Street Garage, we're going to skip because you're not in your groups. Hopefully you're enjoying an adult beverage in a warm, cozy place, or sleeping in, one or the other. So we're going to skip that part, but we're going to go to a part that I think is important and often overlooked in engineering facets here at Virginia Tech. So the graph, this is a graph, okay? What does this graph tell us? I'm waiting for you to say something, but I obviously can't hear you because this is a YouTube video. But this in the orange is temperature of the world on a baseline, and then the blue dots are CO2 emission level, and CO2 emission levels on the right hand scale, temperatures on the left, and then this is time in years. This is present day. Where's my pen? There it was. This is present day. So what can this graph tell us about CO2 emissions? So correlated graph and fun things, what does this tell us? This really doesn't tell us anything as statisticians. We can't calculate a trend or things like that. So I'm just going to go through some slides about some correlated data for you. So if someone says global warming is proven, well, we were a lot higher 20,000 years ago. 8 degrees, 6 degrees. Okay, so here's some fun graphs I want to talk to you about. So this graph, this has a 90, oh, lost it. Where'd it go? It has a 99% correlation, and this is U.S. spending on science, space, and technology versus suicides by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation. 99% correlation on the U.S. Next one. Any guess? Any guess? This one's fun too. Number of people who drowned by falling into swimming pools by number of films Nicolas Cage appeared in. Correlation 67%. Another one. Correlation 95%. Per capita consumption of cheese in the U.S. by the number of people who died becoming tangled in their bed sheets. This one, 99% correlation. Divorce rate in Maine per capita consumption of margarine. So some people will make the claim that if you want to decrease the divorce rate in Maine, you need to eat less margarine. And we obviously know that those don't correlate at all unless people get angry about margarine consumption in Maine. Next one, inverse proportional correlation of 93%. Honey production by producing bee colonies in the U.S. Juvenile arrest possession of marijuana. 93%, it's there. Next one, 87% correlation. Age of Miss America, murders by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects. 87%. Next one, 96%. Any takers? Per capita consumption of mozzarella cheese. Civil engineering doctorates awarded. So if we have civil engineers in here, you must like cheese. Next one, 95% correlation. People who drowned after falling out of fishing boats. Marriage rate in Kentucky. I'm pretty sure that one does directly correlate, but we're not going to worry about that. Next one, 99% correlation. Total revenue generated by arcades. Computer science doctorates awarded. 79% correlation. Worldwide non-consumer space launches. Sociology doctorates awarded. You getting tired of this yet? 97% correlation. Number of people who died becoming tangled in their bed sheets. Total revenue generated by skiing facilities. 95% correlation. U.S. crude oil imports from Norway. Drivers killed in collisions with railway trains. 98% correlation. U.S. crude oil imports from Venezuela. Per capita consumption of high fructose corn syrup. 90% correlation. Per capita consumption of chicken in the U.S. versus total U.S. Crude oil imports. 92% per capita consumption of sour cream, motorcycle riders killed in non-collision transport accidents, 89% divorce rate in Mississippi, murders by bodily force, and 92% correlation total number of political action committees in the U.S. people who died from falling out of their wheelchairs, 92%. I think this is last one, 90% number of people who drowned while in a swimming pool, power generated from nuclear power plants in the U.S. So if we want more power in the U.S., nuclear power, we have to drown more people in swimming pools. Oh, nope, got one more. Maybe more. 90% correlation. Number of people who were electrocuted by power lines, marriage rate in Alabama. So, coming back to this graph, when people say that this correlates, correlation does not equal causation. That's one of the things I wanted to emphasize in this little exercise, this 5-minute exercise that we did, that correlation does not equal causation. So, when people say that the facts are clear, you really need to question them and look at the data. So let's get into what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about hydrothermal today, or whenever you want to listen to this video. It's up to you, so let's get started. Hydropower. There's 3 main types that we kind of use, but it all uses the same basic concept. To rotate some type of permanent magnet inside of a generator to induce electron flow. So the main ways that we do this in the U.S. right now is dams or reservoirs. These other 2, water turbines and tidal wave generators, are relatively in the development stage. We don't have any massive projects to date in the United States, but our main things are dams. So let's get to it. Hydropower in the United States, existing hydroelectric plants are in yellow. They're all over the plants. There are some exclusion areas, but we need to realize that when you put in a dam or something hydroelectric, you severely impact the ecosystem, the potential for different things to evolve and develop. Sedimentation, water levels, you flood certain areas, trout or salmon migration patterns, that's severely affected by these types of hydropower. So in 2009, there was approximately 87 megawatts of hydroelectricity generated in the U.S., and that's roughly 30 million households. That's more than half of the energy is generated in Washington, California, Oregon. These states, and most of them get 70% of their energy from hydroelectric, whereas Virginia, we're a 3-pronged system. We use coal, natural gas, and nuclear. We're about a third of each, give or take, depends on the year, but other states rely more on that renewable resources. So very few dams have been constructed in the past 30 years, owing to the environmental concerns on a river. If a dam has been constructed, it's more than likely it's an Army Corps of Engineers dam, and it's not meant to last or generate power. It's just for flooding. Think of New Orleans, things like that. It's mainly personnel protection. So hydropower efficiency, it's generally considered renewable, but I would consider hydropower more of a battery. We'll talk more about that later. But once you build the power plant for hydroelectric, there is a very little upkeep cost. I mean, generation costs 2 to 4 cents per kilowatt, which is very low, and it's very easy to maintain. There's not a whole lot of maintenance except for the form of geologic timescales, in that the dam will degrade. Okay. It's not going to last forever. They're not built to last 1,000 years. But it is the least expensive form of low carbon energy that we have right now with the highest efficiency. So you can get the same energy out of solar panels or water turbines, but this is the least impact, I would say the least carbon reducing, I don't know how to word that, the carbon intensive form of energy. So I got like 20 seconds left before I have to start the new video, so we're going to pick up on this slide in the second video. So we'll get there in a second.